Hello, motherfuckers. Yeah, yeah. We're going for a minute. It's back now. Says what every fan's thinking that it's kind of trash. A lot of people kind of don't really care about what he says. A lot of people kind of do, which I think you gotta give. I kind of agree with him. I kind of don't. As far as it's very like a twisted view on. I mean, obviously he's evil, but the view on that is very disgusting. Kind of matches his character because like he draws people in because of how like little dolo today. Co-host is on vacation. And kind of took a little break myself, but there's a reason for that. And that being said, let's get straight into it. Within the last, I want to say maybe 7 days, there's been at least 7 long hours of content that has come out as far as Demon Slayer, Infinity Castle, the new season in Gen V has also released, and what we've been talking about recently on the channel, Peacemaker. Then I also some news about Dragon Ball. Nothing really too crazy has dropped. So this might be a little longer video. And even if it's not, we're gonna drop it in 2 parts. But yeah, let's get right into it. Like I said, as far as the Dragon Ball news, the old editor for Akira Toriyama, Torishima, commented on his thoughts about Dragon Ball Daima, and kind of says what every fan is thinking, that it was kind of trash. A lot of people kind of don't really care about what he says, and a lot of people kind of do, which I think you gotta give the man respect if he was the editor for the man who created the show. Over the years, he's always been like very, very critical of Toriyama as far as him forgetting stuff and kind of not being consistent, which is a gripe most people would have about Toriyama. Torishima also went on to say that he believed that a series about Vegeta would have done a lot better than Daima, and I kind of agree with him. I kind of don't. As far as the reasons I don't agree with him is because it just creates the same problem that Daima has and Super has. As far as we know Vegeta's story, we know where it's gonna end, we know where it leads, so it kind of just takes out the drama of it. But I see where he's going with that as well, because there's a humongous chunk of time where we don't know what happens in Vegeta's life, as far as his adventures with Nappa and Raditz. If you go back to the Broly movie at the end, where they're telling everybody that, hey, the planet exploded, the planet Vegeta exploded, there's more Saiyans than just Nappa and Raditz and Vegeta, than them 3. So, like, it could have went to the story, like, the mission they went on where all of them died, and then lead up to going to get Goku, and then tell his story that, of, like, how he grew as a child and stuff like that. Kind of more like a Dragon Ball, like the early Dragon Ball version for Vegeta, which would have been cool. But at the same time, it's like, hey, we all know as fans where Vegeta's story essentially ends up. The only thing that really kind of like shows us that part of Vegeta's life is Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. If you went and played the game, you played the DLC with Bardock, they kind of end it with you playing as Kid Vegeta and going on missions afterwards. But hey, it's not really much there. It's kind of funny though, the timing of him saying that is kind of like spot on, because the DLC for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is about to drop in a couple days. They just released the trailer today. And they're giving us, 6 more playable characters, as far as the Kid, Goku, Super Saiyan 4, Adult Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, Adult Super Saiyan 4, the Diamond version. You get to play as King Goma, the regular buff big version of him, and then the giant version in Majin Buu. Great, cool, I guess. The Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta thing will be pretty cool though, because we haven't really got to see him in a fighting game since Tenkaichi 3, which is years ago, and that was like a what if thing. And had, if you guys remember, they had the Super Saiyan 3 Broly in there as well. That was pretty dope. But look forward to that. That comes out, September 25th. Like I said, the trailer just dropped for it today. It hopefully it does well. The game has very mixed reviews depending on how you look at it. Fun to play though, definitely fun to play. But like I said, so a week ago, I had the pleasure of going to see Demon Slayer: The Infinity Castle Part 1. Wow. What a movie. The movie is fairly long. It's 2.5 hours. 2 hours and 35 minutes. So just straight. I want to say straight like battles, but overall the movie's good. And spoiler alert, I'm gonna go into what happens and whatnot in the movie. So if you haven't seen it, click off now, and come back for the second part of the video, which will be released at a later date, probably tomorrow or before the weekend. So the movie starts where the last season left off. Upper Demon 4, brings them all into the Infinity Castle. They're all falling, and Muzan and Tanjiro kind of having that little banter. Like, it literally starts off with that scene of them falling into the castle. Then it goes to like everyone kind of breaking off into groups for lack of a better term. Tanjiro's falling and he thinks he's about to die. The Water Hashira Gyu saves him. The Wind Hashira is by himself, mourning, and that's it. They're all mourning. You see him cry and kill a demon with ease. The Stone Hashira and the Mist Hashira are together. They're also mourning. The Love Hashira and the Serpent Hashira are together, mourning. Zenitsu is by himself. Inosuke is by himself. And then the Insect Hashira is also by herself. So while they're all falling, it's a cool scene where they all get their bearings and kind of straight up mourn the loss of the head of the Demon Slayer Corps. And then it kind of gets right into it. The Insect Hashira unfortunately runs into Upper 2 Doma. She opens the door to his castle or his mansion to him eating and devouring humans. Straight up had humans in his castle, eating them. She's fast enough to one of them cry out for help, and she's fast enough to actually move her from where he was, but at the same time she ends up ultimately dying. The battle ensues in between them both, but he's intelligent enough to realize that she is just injecting him with poison, and the poison's not working. She has, in her hilt, she's able to change the poison, and he realizes that it keeps clicking, so she's continuously trying different versions of poison on him, and they're all not working. He uses his Blood Demon art, which was visually amazing. It's like little flowers that are ice, and then she's inhaling it, and it's freezing her lungs. It's absolutely crazy. While all that is happening, like I said, everyone's all spread out. Like I said, Tanjiro gets saved by Gyu. Everyone's kind of killing these smaller demons and whatnot. The crows happen to be with them, which is great because the crows are mapping out the whole castle. And it comes, we find out that the Demon Slayer, the master of the Demon Slayers, had a son still, and he's like kind of helping the Demon Slayers like map out and like announcing stuff and all that other, good jazz, right? So back to the battle. Doma's backstory is revealed that he was a deity to the people that he was born into because of his eyes. His eyes are rainbow colored. And from the beginning of time, he hated people. He was always a piece of shit. He thought that the fact that people prayed to him and he thought people were weak and like didn't deserve to live, really. So naturally, he does become a demon, and that was his thing. Like, he believes that him eating his followers and killing his followers, because they're absorbed into him, that's kind of like the best. That's the best end for them. It's very like a twisted view on. I mean, obviously he's evil, but his view on that is very bleak and disgusting. And it kind of matches his character because like he draws people in because of how like sweet he is. The way he talks, he's very sincere. So then we find out that the insect Hashira's master was killed by Doma. The only reason she didn't get absorbed is because the sun came up. And then her master told her, hey, leave the Demon Slayer Corps. If you try to go fight this guy, he's gonna kill you as well. Like, her words, like, she didn't say those words, but she kind of alluded to it. Like, hey, you need to leave. This is the guy that killed me. He talks very calmly. He looks like he poured blood on his head. Leave the Demon Slayer Corps. Don't go after him. Don't try to avenge him. She doesn't listen. Unfortunately, she doesn't listen. She doesn't, because she's here. She's here, getting ready to lose her life. Because that's ultimately what happens. Doma fights with these fans. He mortally wounds her, and she goes in for a last attack with maybe all the poison that she has. Stabs him in the neck into the roof, and he just laughs it off. Laughs it off, gives her like a ill bear hug, and like crushes her. But before she dies, her student comes in and she gives her like a final warning with her hands. And then that's it for the insect Hashira Shinobu. The crows go and announce it, and people don't even have the time to mourn, they're just crying. And what happens next with her is like probably the most disgusting thing I saw that day. Literally, like, Domu tells her to wait while he literally takes her body and absorbs her into his body. It was disgusting. And then now you have her apprentice ready to fight him, and good luck, really. The next battle that we see is, there's all these other little demon slayers fighting around, and Zenitsu goes and fights Kagura. Obviously they have that past of being trained by the same master, and we find out in the letter that their master kills himself, commits seppuku. For those who don't know, is when you kill yourself by injecting a blade into your intestines and going across your belly. The thing about in Japanese, in Japan, when that happens, there's supposed to be a second who chops your head off. If you don't have a second to chop your head off, you die in agonizing pain. And that's what happened to their master. He didn't have a second, he died alone in agonizing pain. And the reason he did that is because old boy became a demon, and he was supposed to be his successor. Him and Zenitsu was supposed to, he picked both of them to be his successors. Zenitsu can only do the first form, but he can do it very well. As far as Kagura can do all other forms, and he can do them very well. But the demon didn't believe that Zenitsu should have been the successor as well, because he can only do the first form, and like called him a loser and all this other stuff. So they have a great back and forth, and Zenitsu does this, like, is so locked in that he went and found him just based off sound, like was able to find him. Um, and then the battle that ensues between the both of them, like, it's crazy because Zenitsu can't really get at him because he's only using the first form, while as the other guy, like the demon, is using all these other lightning breathing techniques, and he's damaging Zenitsu. He's damaging him, having a good fight. He's telling him, hey, like, you're not good enough. You're not being able to beat me. Then out of nowhere, your boy comes up with his own form, and while Buddy's looking down at him, I believe he should have used it earlier, but obviously, for the sake of movie purposes, to make it look great, he's looking down at him. He created a 7th form and sliced Buddy's head clean off. Unfortunately, like I said, he got damaged, and the other guy's blood demon art is attacking his body. He gets saved by, I can't remember his name, but old buddy that was Tomika's apprentice, and he's a demon, but he's pretending to be in the demon state. Corey's wearing the clothes and everything. The part that's messed up about this is that he killed the upper 6 demon by himself, and nobody cares. Nobody says anything. The pros don't say anything. They don't announce it. It's messed up. My boy did it dolo. As a matter of fact, when that happens, like, they're like, hey, yeah, if he was a demon for a year because he just became one, if you fought him a year later, you would have died. You wouldn't have been able to do it by yourself. But I don't know. They kind of disrespect him as he does it by himself. It is what it is. So next we go into the best part, and for some people the worst part of the movie. The best part is because your boy Akaza. I'll get it out the way. Akaza kind of steals the show, like literally and figuratively, because we come to find out that Muzan is like hiding. Upper one is not going to look for battle. Domo is the upper 2, and he was in his mansion. He's not looking for battle. Akaza, the number 3, went and found Tanjiro. Like, he wasn't waiting for it. He was like, yo, my man's, you're getting these hands. Like, I've been looking for you since I fought Kojiro, since Rengoku. Like, I've been waiting for this. He doesn't wait. He goes. He finds him. Yu's starting to fight him, and he keeps asking him for what his name is. What's your name? What's your name? He's not gonna tell him. He straight up tells him, yo, I don't like talking. I'm just about this action. Akaza kicks him away, and then it's just him and Tanjiro. Him and Tanjiro going back at it. Like, the fight is amazing. Him and Tanjiro going back at it. Yu comes back, says, yo, that hurt. Now my back hurts. Then he gets the mark on his face, and then they go back at it. Start fighting again. Tanjiro has like this other flashback of his father killing a bear, and his father telling him how important the Hino Kamikagura dance was to his family, that he needs to continue on with him, and everyone else down their lineage is super important to their family. And that there's something called the transparent world, where you're able to see the blood flow in the brain and the insides of your opponent, which led to Tanjiro's father being like an extremely strong, like, individual. Like I said, in that flashback, he goes and kills a bear. It looks like he slices him once, but he slices his head twice because he was so kind of clean with it. So Tanjiro is able to, tap into this state, move without like showing his fighting spirit, because Akaza's kind of power was he's able to see people's fighting spirits. That's why he was able to, give Rengoku the business, because Rengoku's fighting spirit, it was so large, and he was able to predict his moves and what have you. So Tanjiro gets the drop on Akaza. He's about to cut off his head in secret, and then he announces it to everyone that, hey, I'm behind you, I'm about to kill you. Fortunately, he's able to cut his head off. His head disintegrates, and then the craziest thing happens. Because when it happened with Muzan, and we knew like Muzan might not be able to die because his head got chopped off. Like we were told that. There's no other like Akaza didn't die because he didn't feel like dying. He didn't want to. He thought he should be able to keep fighting. His body kept fighting with his no head. It was still giving these dudes the business, and then he just stops. And then we get a 45-minute backstory on him, which, like, great. The backstory is amazing because it shows you like how evil humans are and it kind of just leads to other people doing evil things. Because at first he's just a boy trying to, he's stealing and all sorts of stuff because he doesn't have the money to take care of his father, and then he gets punished for that. Because he was getting punished so much, his father ends up killing himself, which leads him to go on a rage. And then he finds some master finds him and saves him, and the master has a daughter who's sick. So the master says, "Hey, I'm gonna train you, but you have to take care of my daughter." And the master isn't a swordsman or nothing, just hands, strictly hands, right? Akaza, as a human, grows fond of the master, grows fond of the daughter, so much so that they're gonna get married and go see fireworks. Like he's able to like nurse her back to health, and she has a future outlook on life, and his future is looking great. And then the neighboring dojo, a bunch of weak swordsmen are jealous, and they poison the well and kill the master and the daughter. After like he has this whole like, hey, life is good moment. And then as a human, goes to the swordsman dojo, and this is just like a brief retelling of his backstory. But after they kill his master and his daughter, his future wife, he goes and kills 67 swordsmen with his bare hands. So much so he mangles their body and they can't. It's just a bloody massacre with his bare hands. That leads to Muzan going to look for him because he's like, hey, people are saying there's a demon here. I didn't send no demon here. He doesn't even give, and this is the worst part about the whole story that kind of like bugged me, is that he didn't give Akaza a chance to be like, hey, like, do you want to be a demon? He forced him to be a demon. He put his hand in his face and gave him a shit ton of blood, which led to Akaza becoming Akaza, the upper three that we know now. And his backstory happened, he's been a demon for 500 years. Just here, just put in absolute and utter amounts of work. It was a great story. Great story. So Akaza ends up dying not because of his head getting chopped off, because his head could have grew back. He could have kept fighting. He legit just says it's enough. He has his wife, kind of comes into the flashback, and he's just done. He wants the suffering to end. He actually even says, yeah, I lost. I lost and cut my head off with a clean move. I should have saw it, and he loses. And his body vanishes. Tanjiro and Giyu pass out. Giyu's sword's broken. And then now we gotta wait till 2027 to see the next part. All in all, I think the movie was really, really, really done well. The story is great. The animation was great. The action scenes are great. Everything about it is awesome. My gripe on it was the length of the movie. 2.5 hours to sit there is just too long. Akaza's backstory is literally almost like 45 minutes. It would have been better if it was broken down into episodes. I see why they're taking their time with it, so we can get like the animations right, so it doesn't look all funky and all sort of stuff. But to have someone sit there for 2.5 hours and not be able to ingest it in a way that is enjoyable, because sitting there for 45 minutes and just watching someone's backstory when like there's other stuff to be told is kind of crazy. Whereas if it comes out every Saturday or whatever, and you can watch it in like an episode format, it would have been a lot more doable, I guess. But with that being said, like from what I'm hearing, there's probably a lot more of that coming forward with the other demons and their backstories, whatever. So it's gonna be good, and then I don't know. I hope that they change it because we all know what's gonna happen. This movie's gonna get broken down into episodes and then released on Crunchyroll, anyways. So like, if you don't want to sit and go watch it for 2.5 hours, maybe wait like a year and a half, and then before the next one comes out, you can just go watch the episodes. But that kind of sucks. You're gonna have to wait until like 2030 to watch everything. Which we all gotta wait till 2029 anyways to see the whole thing. But that's it for the anime updates with as far as Dragon Ball. Check out the new update on the 25th with Daima. Let me know in the comments how you feel about Torishima's words. Because like I said, most fans really didn't like Daima. It was good for what it was. It is a good swan song to Toriyama and whatnot, but it is what it is. And let me know your comments on Demon Slayer. Do you agree with me that it should have been in like an episode format, or do you think the movie was perfect? But that's it for the first half of our little update. Part 2 is coming. Thanks for joining us on Cosmic Nerds. My name is Saito. See you in the next.